Hello students. In the last video we showed you how to solve some quadratic equations using a technique called the null factor law. In this video we're going to show you how to solve some equations using dots. And by dots we mean the difference of two squares. Now before we can do that we have to quickly revise expanding. So here we have the expression in brackets a plus b times a minus b. Now, my students were taught this last back in term 1. So the method that we use for this is called the crab claw method. So we draw the little crab claw, and what that tells us basically is we multiply a times a to start with, which gives us a squared, minus a times b, plus b times a, and minus b times b. So there's the expanded form. Now minus ab plus ba, well, ba is the same as a times b, so we really have ab minus ab. They go to 0, and we're left with just a squared take b squared. So when we're expanding expressions that fit this pattern, we can do it in one step, and there's the answer. So let's just try a couple of those before we move on to factorizing. So here we have a plus b, a minus b. In this case, a is x and b is 4. So this pattern here tells us that in expanded form, that's just going to be a squared, or x squared, minus b squared, which is the same as 4 squared, or 16. And there's the answer just in one step. This one's slightly harder, but not too much harder. There's a, there's b, there's a, there's b. So that fits the pattern, a plus b times a take b. So I'll do this one in 2 steps. So that's going to be a squared minus b squared, since a is 2x and b is 3. And 2x all squared simplifies to 4x squared, and 3 squared is 9. So there's the expanded form. And with a little bit of practice, you can leave out that middle step, do it in your head, and write the answer just in one step. Now that's expanding, but what we're really interested in when we're solving quadratic equations is factorizing. So I've just taken that previous expression and just turned it around. We wrote on the other page that that expression equals that one, so obviously it works both ways. So if we can find an expression that fits that pattern, we can write it in the factorized form as a plus b, a minus b. So let's go ahead and do these three, then on the next page you can try some yourself. So here we have x squared minus 36. So that's of the form a squared minus b squared. Okay, that's the pattern that we need just up there. And therefore that's just going to become a plus b times a take b. So there's the factorized form for x squared take 36. For this one, let's just do this in our heads. We can say a is equal to x, b is equal to 1. So therefore, in factorized form, that's just going to be a plus b times a take b. This one's slightly harder, so you need to think the expression, or the term, 4x squared is really 2x in brackets all squared, and that of course is 7 squared. So now we have a squared minus b squared. That's going to be 2x plus 7 times 2x take 7. Okay, let's go ahead and let you have a go at doing some of these. Okay, so stop the video and factorize these 4 expressions, please, using the difference of two squares. Okay, let's see how you went. So for 9x squared, take 4. Again, normally after you've done a few of these, you can leave this step out. You don't need to write it. You can do it in your head. So 9x squared can be written as in brackets 3x all squared. So that's A, and B is equal to 2. So it fits the pattern A squared minus B squared, and that becomes A plus B times A minus B. This one up here, well, if A squared is 25x squared, A is just 5x, and B is just 1, so 5x plus 1, 5x take 1. If A squared is 100y squared, well, the square root of 100 is 10, so that's going to be 10y plus 8. Since if b squared is 64, b is 8, times 10y, subtract 8. And the last one, if a squared is 9a squared, in this case a will be replaced with 3a, and b will be replaced with 4b. So we have 3a plus 4b times 3a minus 4b. So a nice quick way to factorize. If you've got an expression in the form a squared take b squared, that will factorize to the form a plus b in brackets times a minus b in brackets. And in the next video, we'll show you how we use that to help us solve a certain type of quadratic equation.